All right, we live. I'm gonna wait for them to come. Man, I went on last night. It was a beautiful thing, man. They came in and man, everybody's excited about this big win. So we're gonna wait on them to come in. We had about 105 last night. And so hopefully we come on back in, man. They get ready to come on in. We just announced it a little bit ago, so we'll give them a couple of minutes, man. But we're excited about this big win. We're excited about what USC is doing. And we're just going to give them a couple of seconds to come on in. Come on in. This was a big win yesterday.
Man.
Big win yesterday. And I think it was a statement win. And I know we got some issues with some defense, but I still think it was a statement win. Come on in. We got 4 coming in so far. We got a few coming in. I still believe it was a statement win. Because USC last year, I don't believe this would have even came close to happening. Will, what's going on, my man? Will Stick, what's going on?
Yo.
Come on in. Luke, what's going on? Fight on. Come on in. We want to talk about this. We want to break it down a little bit. We want to talk to John. We want to see exactly what he's seen last night as it relates to defense. John played defense. So we want to talk about that, see some of the gaps and the holes that we can kind of identify, and we can kind of move forward and think about what USC can possibly do moving forward here. Luke, what's going on? You was at the game. You was at the game. We showed them up. Absolutely. I believe we did, man. I believe it was a good game. I think we took our foot off the gas, but we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. They're coming in. So, look, we're here today, man, and this is the day after. We had a little opportunity to reflect back. As you guys know, I went live directly after the game. I was super juiced up, man. I felt like going to go buy me some pads at the local sporting goods store, but I couldn't. Everything was closed. You hear me? So, hey, but listen, everything was closed, so I probably would have hit. Hey, I would have did nothing but hit a car anyway. JB, what's going on, baby? What's going on? But man, look, we super excited, guys. What's happening? We super excited. Look, we're gonna do it. It's a little bit different as the questions come in. We might pause the interview or pause the conversation and take some questions, because I know sometimes we don't get to everybody's questions, but we want those questions coming in. We want to know some feedback. So listen, I'm gonna let you guys hear from John. We want to know exactly what he thinks about the game. We know this was a big win, David. Absolutely. So John, your overall thought process of the game. You USC Jays fan, the base here on the in the audience. You guys already know how I feel about it. But John, tell us what you think about your overall thought process as it relates to the win yesterday.
Well, first, I'll lead off with always honored, blessed to hang with you and the USCJ fam. Fight on, Trojan Nation. Big ups to another victory Sunday, and I have mixed feelings about the overall performance. I have mixed feelings. My initial emotion is gratitude because we got the victory, so we can throw our V's up for this weekend. But overall, I believe very much like a lot of us in the country who are USC faithful, we're a little bit traumatized and have a little bit of PTSD.
Absolutely.
from some of the very painful memories of the past. So I didn't like feeling the insecurity that I felt, but that could just be me, right? Because when I actually
it's everybody.
The young men came, they performed, and the one thing that stood out, I'm going to speak from a defensive perspective. Defensively, that was the first time any of them had ever seen that offense.
Yeah.
They never seen the RPO offense like that, with the long hesitation, what they were calling a mesh, where they were just reading to see if the backers would collapse, if the ends would collapse, or if they would hold contain. And based upon whatever the linebackers and D-line were doing, they would hand the ball off inside, outside, or modified to one of their crossing routes. And they had a quarterback that was capable and really ran that offense efficiently for us, assuming that I believe that that's their primary offense. I think we saw Stanford's complexion for the rest of the season.
Right, right.
And I don't know how successful it's going to be now that it's on film. I don't
Right.
know. We were prepared to play them the way they played Cornell, right?
Absolutely.
Was it Cornell?
Colgate.
I'm sorry.
And let me say, Emmanuel Marino, what's up, my man? Appreciate you, buddy.
That's right. Forgive me, I meant Colgate. My apologies.
No, you good.
So the way our young men handled that adversity, I enjoyed. I think Coach Grinch is a lot more tactful than we realize, and his adjustments were micro adjustments. They weren't big noticeable differences, but they were enough to keep the game for the most of the part in front of us, in front of our secondary. Like there was, for as bad as it seemed, I mean, nobody on their team rushed for over 100 yards. For as bad as it seemed, I think EJ Smith only rushed for 88 yards. Right, and their second running back was 50 or something. I can't remember the exact stats. So I like that we actually did contain them more than it seemed. And the fact that our defense was out there on the field for almost 30 minutes,
man,
and they didn't fold. They really didn't fold when it came time to actually, make the plays when they needed. I'm actually very, very encouraged about what they're going to do, and I think guys are still learning. We lost two of our best and most consistent defensive linemen, specifically with Romello Height going out, and I hope he's okay. I really do. We need him. And then also Dejon Benton, who was kind of our anchor in the middle, he was unavailable. So that game ruled for Solomon Byrd, number 51, to come showcase who he is, right?
Yeah.
But we are okay. I gave it's a B, a solid B, because I think athlete for athlete, we had better athletes in my professional opinion.
Absolutely.
We just have to execute, and those dudes were learning on the go. So I gave them a B because
right. And I think CBS Sports gave them a B. I think they gave them a B as well. And I looked at a lot of other teams. USC's kind of up there as it relates to the overall team perspective. They got a B as well. And to your point, mentioning about them, the amount of time they were on the field. Stanford exactly was on the field. Their time of possession was 29-27. And 29 minutes and 27 seconds to USC's 30 minutes, 33 seconds. Now, I will say this: when I did a preview early throughout the week, I felt like USC should control the clock a little more, just because of that very fact. When you're given our, the amount of depth that we have, I felt like USC should just try to slow it down. I mean, they were scoring extremely fast, man, and as a result, these guys having to keep coming back in. And I think that play, those little draw plays or whatever they were, that David Shaw was running, they just kind of implemented that for this game, because I went back and watched the film for Colgate. They didn't even run that at all, man. It was some of this stuff that they were running was like, where did this come from? So I kind of want to give them a little bit of credit as to not knowing what, from a preparation standpoint, not knowing which direction to go. What's your thoughts on that?
That was, absolutely. I want to piggyback off that. That was in-game live adjustments, and that was a true display of our young guys overcoming adversity. Like Coach Grinch stresses it. We have to strain and we have to overcome adversity. All spring, all fall camp, I kept hearing it in interview after interview, in personal conversation with some of the guys on the staff. They just said, we just can't wait to see this defense handle adversity. And I believe that was about as challenging as it could be, to cover an offense that you have no film on. And that's really what it was.
Right.
And when I was, I wish you could see, I was taking notes during the game and like trying to figure out how I would scheme that as a defensive coordinator.
Right.
And I will tell you, the scheme based on our type of defensive front, which we run a
3-3-5.
So we run a 3-3-5 based upon how our fundamental core defensive package works. We were playing that type of offense decent. But here's where we became studs. we didn't miss many tackles.
Right. Absolutely.
Open field tackling, we were on lock.
Right.
I think in run support, guys were coming downhill and making the plays. I felt like our secondary put themselves in positions. Eric Gentry continued to be a menace back there. Shane Lee did control the line of scrimmage from a standpoint of when he made contact with any of the backs or tight ends, the play ended there. So I look for those types of things where they're like, I don't want too many guys having to have consistent heroic efforts for us to play good defense. It looked like we were very willing tacklers. We were very downhill oriented when we needed to be. We had effort, the backside pursuit when those plays were starting to bust on us. Guys were really hunting. So there was a lot of things that I like. And you know, if I'm correct, like we stopped them on 7 out of 8 or 12 out of 18 third downs or something like.
Right.
We did a decent job. And when it was time to make turnovers, guys, our players had big eyes. Like Max came down there, boom. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful head placement. And that play, that forced fumble there on the goal line only happens with a guy that's not scared to make contact. If you're diving down that running back's legs and knees because you're scared to hit him head up, you're not going to create disruptive fumbles like that.
Right.
So the fact that our guys are like, he looked at him, he fit him up, and he put his shoulder pad on the ball. That's a textbook Trojan tackle. No, none of this stuff from the last regime where they were teaching they called it a Trojan roll, where they would roll into their legs and twist and spin out of it.
Right.
Brother, that created so many missed tackles last couple seasons. These dudes are playing smash mouth football the way to play in Cardinal and Gold, and we bring in the chaos.
Right. Brendan Iverson said they sprung the Wake Forest offense on us. I mean, they just, it came out of nowhere. This offense came out of nowhere and they sprung it on us. But so my question is then, when something in the event that something like this happens again, should USC change the base defense, opposed to sticking with this 3-3-5? Because it seems like at times this 3-3-5, it seems like we can get gashed for some big time plays, man. And it's like, I was traumatized too, man. Hey, I had a weird feeling going on in my, when I get like that, my whole family, I just say, look, I can't talk. Hey, leave me alone. I need to focus right now. What's going on? Because right now it doesn't look good. I started getting that weird feeling last night as well when they started scoring. I'm just like, wait a minute, we hadn't scored in the second half. What's really going on, man? What's your thoughts as far as the base defense possibly being switched when we face certain offenses or certain type of schemes?
So they ran the ball almost 50 times. They ran the ball 45 times, brother. I think, and they had 220 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Something like that. So they had 220 something yards rushing on 45 attempts.
Right.
And they tried to control the clock. There may not be another offense in the country that is that committed to trying to pound the ball.
Yeah.
Like outside of teams that we may play in the SEC.
Yeah.
Like Pac-12, there's no other teams really equipped for that. Maybe Utah is as close as it gets.
I think Utah close, yeah.
But I don't even know if Utah is still that consistent at trying to run the ball.
Right.
But on another note, let's think about Stanford being that far behind the game, point-wise, and they still stay diligent with running, where that's chewing the clock out. So I do believe that we won't be ambushed like that in the future. I do believe that a lot of those younger, the front line guys now have experience. And the base defense that we run is not one that's supposed to, in my opinion, just go bloody nose for bloody nose with linemen. It's more of a situational type of defense where you're going to have to make the exact cut, the exact read, the exact play. And you might gash us a few times throughout the game, but I think we're set up in the way that the field is spaced to really be able to take the ball away. Right. It's a turnover-oriented defense. We got another 4, right?
Man, that's another. And I know a lot of, even last game they said, well, these guys were kind of the quarterback threw it this way for Rice. He did this, and this caused the. But I mean, come on. At some point, we got to kind of give the defense some kind of credit, because I believe even as Max Williams on that goal line when he punched that ball through, these guys and you're seeing so many balls that are being tipped. I believe that these guys are practicing this stuff in practice. The tip balls, which is causing the reflection and going to making an interception. I believe that these things are being practiced. As a result, these guys are getting turnovers. Now, are they the perfect turnover? I'm not gonna say they're the perfect turnovers, but it's kind of a coincidence, if you will. Let me answer some of these questions. Let me take USCJ. Do you think SC defense has the ability to take the ball away? Will help make the opposing offense less dynamic due to SC's ability to take the ball away. What's your thoughts on that?
No, not at all. If anything, it allows us to hide our offense a lot more, which I like.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like, I think our offense probably ran less than 24 plays in that game.
Yeah.
I believe like the route combinations, we didn't do anything diverse. We didn't show our offense, especially in the second half. In the second half, we were running like the most basic offensive formations, the most basic.
It's like we took the foot off the gas.
So at the risk of like showing your hand to the next opponent or revealing what we have in our arsenal for the remainder of the season, I understand that. I think Lincoln understands that. I think the offense and Caleb really recognize that. And I believe that they're going to hold themselves to a higher standard of execution in the future because it just doesn't feel as dominant. But I'll tell you this. We went the first 5 drives of our game scoring touchdowns, right? Points.
Oh, yeah.
The first 5 drives. And then the next, 3 or 4, we scored nothing.
Right.
Little field goals here and there, which for our offense, I'm going to consider nothing. I understand the balance. I do. I understand the balance and also the gamesmanship of the coaches trying to keep everyone involved and happy too.
Right, man. That's a big deal right there.
Well,
you mentioned something big.
There's so much more than you guys understand.
Exactly.
You have to give guys reps. You like even a Raleek Brown who was banged up, you still got to put him on the field because he's young.
Right.
He has a maturing mind, and his mind, he wants to feel valued. Guys want to feel a part of the process. We got Trojans that we love. Like if you really notice, like Taj Washington didn't get.
Hey, I noticed that. I mentioned that to somebody today. Well, I think I was talking to you. I might be talking to you. Yeah, right. That was kind of interesting to me.
Well, the thing is when you have so many like Kyle Ford didn't play, CJ Williams didn't play,
Gary Bryant Jr.
He played a very little, and we know GB's getting back from injury, so I think he's slowly starting to get back in his rhythm, and so I'm gonna hold that down in good faith and hope in Jesus' name, because Gary's a game breaker.
He's a game breaker, man.
He stands for game breaker. Like he's the same type of receiver as Addison.
Exact same thing.
I stand on that.
Yeah.
So we understand these things, but we still don't have our full strength. We're missing our starting safety. We're still missing one of our perceived starting cornerbacks in Domani. I think he might get a little preview of him.
Right.
So there's a lot still unpacked. We still have another running back that we know can do it in Barlow.
Yes.
Guys, like to do a lot with showing the bare minimum is a very strategic and tactical part of gamesmanship. In this era of college football, you do not want to show your hand too early. You just don't.
Yeah.
At the same time, you don't want to sacrifice leads either and start to coast.
Absolutely.
But I just believe that in our base package, we thought we would out-execute and Stanford start to get momentum. They are a high-level performing Division I football program.
Absolutely.
Capable of beating, I would say, 70% of the SEC teams that are out there. So Stanford's a good team.
And they got the size to prove. They got the size, the physical stature to prove that.
Dude, Stanford is a good football program. They just got to get over this hump. So there we go. Like, look at all the upsets this year. Look so far. Look at this. So our offense, they understand what they're doing. I do believe that they left about 30, 35 more points off the board.
Which is really scary because you're talking about, possibly putting up 70 points, 60 points. Now, sticking with that, another team in 2019 kind of did a similar thing, put up some big time numbers like USC, and I kind of pair them together with USC right now this year, and that's LSU, the 2019 national championship team. Yep. Their defense was, it was nowhere near what any SEC team would normally have, and I just went through their schedule. And Texas, they opened up with Texas that year that didn't really even have that good of a team. And that game at the beginning of the season was 45-38. Then they played Northwestern State, which is like a Division I AA, I think, 65-14. Vandy, 66-38. Utah State, they played them. Then Florida, 42-28. So they had a couple of major blowouts like the one we had at Rice. But then for the most part, they had some 50-20 games, some 58-37s. But I kind of, their defense was still allowing points. And I think if we don't put the expectations for our defense is not going to be a super locked down 7 point per game defense. That's just not going to happen.
It's not consistently.
Go ahead. You can speak to that.
So, and I'll even double down on what you just said. I know two teams that had a very similar defensive philosophy. Two teams that I know very familiar. It was our 2004 national championship squad against won against Oklahoma.
Right.
And then also our 2003 national championship team. If you paid attention, we got lit up by Oregon, Washington State.
Yeah.
We got lit up by Oregon State. They almost beat us.
Fresno.
Arizona State. We came back in the fourth quarter to beat them my senior year. That's the sign of a team that's not a front runner.
Right.
I cannot stand the Trojan teams that get a big lead and feel good, and then the other team comes back, and then at the end of the game, we make a heroic effort to finish the game and win. That's not what this was. We made a big lead. We start to show minimal. The elevation of the other team kind of came up. The crowd became reinvigorated. The referees helped them a little bit with some very questionable calls. We had a really untimely offensive pass interference call that really hit us.
Horrible calls, man.
But at the same time, they got 105 yards in penalties against us.
Yeah.
So gave them 105 yards in penalties, and a couple of those were third down. Now, take away those, this is a blowout.
Right.
Okay. If our DB doesn't stay on his knee when he recovers that fumble, it's a blowout. And runs it back to the house. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So these are the types of plays where when you touch that type of experience for the first time in a season, you don't tend to make those mistakes again.
Right.
The coaching staff. So everything that we're doing now, these are perfect pre-SAT tests before we take the real SAT.
Right.
And I believe that because these guys are getting these game reps. A lot of young men are getting reps in real time, real speed against game opponents. And the momentum is building. Like you can feel it. It's cooking. And right now we're leading the nation in turnover margin. We're leading the nation. We're leading the nation.
Absolutely.
In almost time of possession. We're almost leading the nation in scoring. Like there's so many things that are working well for us that are getting kind of swept under the rug because we feel like our defense isn't that good.
Right.
Because we feel
that's that trauma. Stuff. That's that traumatization activity in the brain, man.
until our defense actually folds, lays over, and allows a team to step on their throats all game. These are just feeling opinions. But when you look at statistically, Bama just rolled over. Ain't nobody talking about their defense sucks. We don't
even want to get on that because they cheated, man. That's a whole nother. They straight cheated. Let me get to this question real quick. Oscar says, I believe if our defense can hold teams under 30 points each game, we will win every game. What do you guys think? I'll answer that, then I'll let you
Let's
come
go.
on, John. Oscar, I totally agree with you, man. I think if we could just hold them to 30, I believe that we're going to nobody's going to be able to stop our team from scoring at least 40 plus points. That's just my belief. What do you think, John?
I agree, especially because now I'm starting to see the special teams take a little bit more of an identity. And the thing is our special teams still have been very uninvolved with the football games. So there's a hope. We've been winning games with just two components. I do hope that we clean up our kickoff coverage. I really do. But we don't practice. It's crazy with how many kickoffs we've had. I would expect us to really be really good at covering the ball. So,
right.
And we haven't punted much. So that's also kind of a gray area red flag. I'm just
right.
That's how we're going to cover the field. But I do believe that soon enough, we're about to start scheming up some of these returns. But these guys are booming the ball. Our returners haven't even had a chance to return the ball.
Right.
So imagine once we do get the ball in the hands of some of our guys in space. All right. Imagine when our running backs actually start to find a rhythm and our offensive linemen believe they are who they are. Right.
Right.
When you get that and you get those big boys who just recognize like we are the heart and soul of this team, we're going to keep our quarterback clean and we're going to make sure our running backs eat all game long. And
all game long.
Our receivers are going to just have a field day tippy-toeing around guys in secondary. So there's a lot of good things happening. We don't have stubborn coaches who don't have the mental and emotional equipment to correct mistakes. We have guys that take ownership and accountability. Grinch.
Absolutely.
We understand what we need to do.
Absolutely.
Riley, we understand.
Paul, let me answer a couple of Paul K, John Walker, game thoughts, pure gold, baby. And then Roger Dodger, Stanford was trying to grow mushrooms on that field. Hey, God, O-line was good. Hey, I think that's I was listening to a podcast before the game, a couple of days before, and I heard this guy said USC, one of their weaknesses is the offensive line, man. I could not. That couldn't have been the worst statement of all time because PFF ranked the USC offensive line top 5 in the country. And man, they literally pushed Stanford around the field last night. I mean, Caleb Williams at some points he had some time, and the time that he didn't get time, I think as me and you talking, you alluded to last night, some of that might have been caused by him. What's your thoughts on that?
Right.
Offensive line.
Well, the offensive line they're very talented. They're very talented. They still are improving, and they're actually still young for the system. That's why they're young, because this is the first time any of these offensive linemen have played this offensive scheme. This gets better by week 6, week 7. What you see now is the worst they're going to play, guys. That's what we have to understand is we're getting the worst efforts because they're still inexperienced.
Mm-hmm.
Still learning this scheme against other teams. They only know how to play against our team for the most part. So what you see in a real life game is just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg. So yes, we will continue to improve. Our offensive line is staying healthy, and they are accountable. They believe in protecting the quarterback and the running backs. They really do. Now, Caleb is such a playmaker. Now, he wants to hit home runs. He does. And right now, he's, again, leading the country in time of possession of holding the ball in the pocket. He's number 1, and he was number 1 last year, too.
Yes.
He only played like 7 or 8 games or something like that. So it's a part of his DNA, but I believe he will begin to start to sprinkle in the things that make him really special with his being able to maneuver and get down. I don't think he's going to try to make too many heroic plays.
He's special, man. And I think me and you talked after the game, and I said, man, he has to get down because when he ran on the sideline, that horse collar, man, it scared the mess. I thought he was going to pop his knee the way that guy pulled him back, man. I said, man, Caleb, please get down. We don't need you. We do not need you out for the rest of the year. And so I mean, we trust his abilities. We trust every decision that he makes. But only thing I would say, get out just a little bit early so you can be able to maintain throughout this season, man.
I believe he will too. I believe he will. And you know, the Stanford field was very, very, very. It was a poor terrain. They slipped. We slipped. Refs were slipping. Everybody was soggy from the rain. if you don't know anything about California, but it's been rainy over the last last week with like some type of hurricane near our coastline. But no excuses. We all had to play on the same field. Soggy fields don't work fast for very explosive runners. It just it doesn't. It really.
Well, here's
doesn't.
the guy, Eddie Ray. Now he's speaking to your point right now. He says the play in the third quarter where Caleb got sacked, 3 wide receivers slipped in the mud, and then Caleb tweaked his ankle in the mud. It's crazy. I agree, man. So that speaks to your point. And I've seen quite a bit of slipping myself, man, when I was kind of observing it myself, man. So that speaks exactly to your point.
But he still got to throw the ball away so he doesn't deal with that.
Yeah.
You got to get the ball out of there. And I think that they will. Like, I'm confident that Coach Riley's going to speak with him about the longevity of a season and the things required to just be diligent about the ball. Like, our defense did prove that they weren't easily going to fold.
Right.
You know, they did. And we were outsized. We were outsized. We definitely, from the receivers to the tight ends to the backs, we were all outsized. And for us to play that physical where we pounded their starting running back out of the game.
Right.
That's what happened. It wasn't the fact that he was fumbling. It was the fact that he experienced some type of what I perceive as like a cervical nerve damage type of deal where he might have had a stinger that he couldn't squeeze and protect the football anymore. So that happens from physical, I'm going to hit you in the face. And I like that mentality. I really do. So I love the complexion of what we look like this young in the season.
Yes. And with the with some of the guys sustaining injuries on our side, we had an emergence of Solomon Byrd, man. He came out of nowhere last night because I really didn't see him in the first game. But, man, Solomon Byrd really looked – I posted a clip of his from last night. I posted on my Instagram. You guys can go to USC J32 and check that out. Man, he really showed me like some dog in him, man. I didn't realize he had that much dog in him, man. I knew he was good, but, man.
I saw some of his film he was from Wyoming.
Yeah.
So Solomon was actually a beast, but sometimes you get lost in the shuffle, right?
Yeah.
You just don't fit that scheme. Whereas I do believe that Solomon is the type of guy, I think he could play inside and outside personally. And he has real game time experience. So that's someone also that's good for Corey to learn and feed off of. And then when Corey Foreman got in, you saw him being disruptive as well. There's just nothing but upside. That's what I'm going to encourage everyone. Now, Fresno is going to create a different type of threat. They throw the ball, they run the ball, they hit hard, they play special teams well, and they hate USC.
Right.
This game, Fresno State, is more worrisome than Stanford is to me.
Yeah.
Because my history of being a USC Trojan alumni and an athlete is the third game of the season after we've won the first 2 is the one where we tend to stumble. Yeah.
And you got Jeff Tefford, man. Jeff Tefford at Cal. That used to be at Cal. He's now the coach. He's now the coach there, and it's like, and Fresno State already, always kind of gave problems anyway. Now you add Jeff Tefford and the quarterback that transferred. Where did he transfer? Oh, I think from Washington, I want to say. But anyway, they got a pretty good. They went toe-to-toe with Oregon State last night. Came down to the last minute, but they are a pretty good team.
I think they are, and they tend to play more heroic in SoCal.
Absolutely.
A lot of these guys are from SoCal, and they go to Fresno State because USC, UCLA may not have been their primary option. So when I think about Fresno State, I really think about one of the most game opponents. That's like one of those sleeper games that is a trap game, especially because we're at home, we're riding emotionally, mentally, and it's just always that feeling there. So I'm not nervous to play them. I think we have the better athletes. We're confident we have the better coaches and the scheme. We just got to execute. Like, I don't want to see us doing phantom drop passes, phantom fumble the ball, right? Weird forcing the ball into positions that don't, we don't need that type of thing. So this is the game where we really got to lock in, because being able to survive the month of September with undefeated, that's the trajectory and the blueprint for us going to the national championship.
Absolutely. Let me get to this comment. Anthony Bias, USCJ, Jaywalk, y'all broke it down like no other. Appreciate you, bro. Much respect. Man, we appreciate you too, man. We appreciate you for tapping in. Paul K, totally agree. Jeff Tefford, Fresno State can be dangerous, but I'm sure Riley is aware of this.
Yeah.
So Hugo, what's up, my man?
What up, Hugo?
He said, what's up? Fight on, Oklahoma killer.
Yeah,
What's up, Hugo? Roger Dodger, expect a lot of Fresno fans. Yeah, they will be at the Coliseum. I think they're going to show up. And let's remember this. Everybody shows up. Even when USC was down, everybody shows up for USC. You know, they got that it factor, and everybody, they got a big target on it. Really now, man, I mean, this is their Super Bowl. Everybody's Super Bowl is going to be when they play USC. Can you imagine that in this offense? And it's going to be a major accomplishment if they could take down this so-called powerful offense, man. So you know, let's Eddie. Yo, Reggie needs to run out. Absolutely, Reggie needs. Hey, John, call Reggie up, John. Tell him to run out the tunnel, man.
Hey, I love Reggie. Reggie been in tore his hamstring. Reggie be on that golf course, man.
Yeah,
bro. That's my brother though. Reggie will forever own Fresno State. He owns university.
Absolutely. So looking forward, I heard you mention about the safety, man. Yeah. I thought the safety was out, but let me ask you this, because my thought process when I reviewed the game earlier this week, I said that Max Williams, I felt like he was, you know, he's good with Caleb Bullock back there, and he seems like it's a good. They complement each other, man. He looks very comfortable back there. Sure enough, he came out and did what he did, man. Had an interception, and he had the fumble. You know, he calls the fumble. Do you think this is a permanent fit? I mean, Max Williams, I mean, we know he played nickelback, but, man, Max looks like a natural right now next to Caleb Bullock. What's your thoughts on that?
Yes, he is a natural. He is, I liken him to a Sewer Cravens and a Deion Bailey type.
Right.
Where literally, we used to have another guy when I played named Josh Pinkert, who was the same type of guy, who could play any position across the secondary. And actually, I would put myself in that light. You know, we have the kind of in-between body types that can play every type of position in the secondary. So we're only going to get upgraded when Max can play in the slot.
Right.
I'm going to say that, and that's not a disrespect to Max. It's just the fact that he covers slot receivers. He comes down on tight ends that can run with backs that flare out. He runs with those guys and matches up so well because he's savvy. He's
right.
Defensive back who's been through the trenches. Now, Alfred is a dog.
He's a dog. I mean, he led the team in interceptions last year.
He's a dog. He's a great communicator. You know, I got love for my SoCal types of secondary guys, but he plays that Texas style of safety. He's from Texas.
Yeah.
He brings it. Like he's sound all around. So as long as he's healthy and can get back into that position, our defensive secondary is going to strengthen exponentially when we get Damani. And I'm going to tell you, the thing about Damani is he's a little glitchy, right? He got that little glitch in him, but he's smooth with downfield. Like, you throw the ball deep on him, you're in trouble.
Man, I seen it, man. That guy jumped a ball. He played Duncanville High School last year in Texas. He jumped a ball that was absolutely ridiculous, but he read it the whole time, and his hips, everything was in place, man. He did, you know, his fundamentals are already there. If you look at the money.
I had one of the coaches who have had an opportunity to coach him at USC. This is the exact term they defined him as. He's very sticky. Sticky with crazy top end speed.
Yeah.
Because right now our two corners, they're fast, football fast. But
right.
True top end speed is what like Jordan Addison has, 23 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison got timed at 23 miles an hour. Damani ran a 10-2 100 meters as a junior in high school in one state in the 100 meters, which is to me the hardest state outside of Texas to win the 100 meters in. So you put that, and I believe he would have repeat if he were healthy, right?
Right.
But it looks like we're going to get what Pleasant is about to come. I hope he comes state champion. So like we have pipeline, and I think we are building a fence around SC,
big time,
right, in Cali. But at the same time, I'm seeing the guys that we have not fully highlighted and unleashed yet are going to be a problem, because when we get Epps out there, our tight end,
Man,
he's going to be somebody to contest with.
yes. He got receiver type ability on the inside of him, man, even though he's a tight end.
I agree.
Let me read this comment. Christopher, this is a professional and intelligent analysis. Love to hear and see observations from football minds that line up what's really on the field. Plus, also love what the guy said about Max. Hey, man, we appreciate you, man. Really, really appreciate you tapping in here. Mr. Big Will, okay. I was dead wrong about USC beat the spread in the first 2 games. Hey, Big Will, I told you, hey, I know you're a USC fan, and I told the fans back in May, I said, listen, I'm throwing the keys away to the ship. I said, I'm closing the door, but listen, you on here, baby. Hey, we going to let you in this thing, man. All right, Big Will. Fight on, man. Fight on.
Hey, we're going to make an exception for Big Will. All right. Big Wheels keep on turning. Let's go.
So from here, where do we see USC going? I think that they can get better and better and better. We got so much to learn as it relates to gelling on the defense, man. Where do you see us going from here?
I think we put up 50 against Fresno. I believe we clean up some of the interior play. I think Caleb makes better decisions with the football. I believe the defense begins to create an identity. And like right now they're exploring their identity, but I believe they're about to believe in their own selves. I believe that they're going to invest in the hype that they are turnover creators.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you walk with that level of purpose as a secondary, as a linebacking core, as a defensive front, when you walk with the purpose of we create turnovers and we don't allow teams to get comfortable against us. When you believe that intrinsically and you walk with that level of purpose from game to game, you have no choice but to collide headfirst with your destiny, and that's winning the ship. Absolutely,
man. I really believe that. I believe something special is within this team, man, and we just got to keep the focus, man, and keep things moving. Let me speak to this. B. Hunter, Reverend USC from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Man, we appreciate you for tapping in, man. Appreciate you. Right-hand lead, A&M recruits going to start looking. Listen, let's get on that just for a second. That's a good point. Right-hand lead, A&M is lost in the sauce. Let's just call it what it is. They lost against Appalachian State, man. They lost against, and listen, Appalachian State had a game where they, I think, put up 50 points against North Carolina. So I kind of had an idea that Texas A&M was about to get lost in the sauce, and I just didn't see anything from that quarterback. But as a result, they got all these guys. They signed the #1 class last year of all time or whatever, and now they're totally flopping. So my thing is that we can possibly see some of these recruits, as to right-hand Lance point. We could see some of these recruits now that we got momentum and we're starting to win. We can start seeing some of these recruits flip. What you think, John?
I do believe in that, particularly now that SC has a stronger NIL collective program.
Yes,
several different fronts. We've got better incentives in place for athletes who are a little bit more monetarily driven, right, with decisions, and they're not regionally loyal to wherever they're from. SC is most certainly a beautiful satellite location to create a foundation and lay roots as a young man. I'm not from California. I'm from Chicago.
Yeah,
I've been here. I've never gone back. And there's a reason why. There's nothing but growth and opportunity here. There's just exponential growth. So it makes sense as a long-term visionary young man or young woman who are in competitive sports to recognize the importance of plugging into this community in Southern California. It's so important. Like, you guys don't understand like what is here, the limitless resources, and there's so many abundant opportunities outside of athletics or education that can travel you and trajectory through your life. That's just I'm standing on that. I'm living testimony of that, right? I'm a guy that was a star at USC. I was not a phenomenal contributor that got stats, but here I stand in front of my USC family and audience with a very strong career outside of sports, a very healthy family life, and from where I'm from, I'm a miracle.
Absolutely.
a miracle, and that's a testimony of God's love and his provision in my life, but also being tapped into a resource like the Cardinal and Gold. So
Absolutely.
if any of you young recruits are listening to this podcast, it's not about what happens on the field or in the classroom at SC, but it's about being part of a DNA that's so enriched with resources and people who are openly willing to extend a hand when you need it. And that really, really gives you like some support that's really needed in these trying times where there is uncertainty in the economy and there is a little bit of uncertainty with like the overall landscape of our country, with all these pandemics and political issues and social economic issues. You need to tap into a place where resources are flowing and flowing abundantly. That is why Cardinal and Gold. I'm sorry, I don't mean to hold this part.
No, you good. You good.
It's so important that you recognize the reason we wear Cardinal is so we never express pain, weakness, discomfort on the field. If we were to get cut on the field, or if we were to bleed on the field, no one would ever know. Because our uniform is already
right.
The life force of our body and our being. And we wear gold because that is what every person pursues in life. The gold, the riches, the spoils of their efforts, the fruit of their labors, the result of working tirelessly in the classroom and in the field of competition to build a life of prominence and build yourself into like what most of us are trying to experience, generational wealth. But that's what Cardinal and Gold stands for. So don't call us red and yellow. We're not red and yellow. Cardinal and Gold. And I'm gonna speak on it. Hey, I hope y'all enjoying what USC J and I are bringing, man, because it's real.
To speak to that point, the resources, and because we're talking about, for those who I see we got 83 in here, but for those who are just coming on, we're talking about some of the teams that lost over the weekend, USC possibly pulling in some of these recruits. John kind of elaborated on the fact that, understanding that USC just is bigger than football. And to his point, I totally agree, because, when different people tap in, even last night after the game, I had somebody from Indonesia. We got somebody from Big Glen. I don't know if he's on. He's from the Philippines. We got people that are reaching from all over that have access and resources and have developed great careers all over the world from this one university. So that kind of speaks to your point, what you're talking about. So yeah, these recruits can flip for football, but then they can flip for the educational aspects as well, and the resources that can take them very, very far in life. Mr. Big Will, he says, Caesar, I have been to over 200 SC games and have been a fan since 1978. Wow. Man, we appreciate before you were born. You're absolutely right.
I wasn't even swimming just yet. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Paul K, Texas A&M, just because they got the #1 freshman class and it's the SEC, don't mean that they should be ranked. Hey, listen, the new ranking, we're going to talk about that real quick. The new ranking just came out today, the AP poll, and USC is number 7. Do you guys, hit me in the comment section, do you think it's too high or do you think it's too low? Let me know. John, what do you think about that ranking? USC moved up to number 7.
I think it's somewhere around, it's like the Three Little Bears. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. It's like kind of just right,
Right.
So that is okay, because it will show the evidence of the mountain climb. I do not want anything given. I want it earned. We want earned, not given, because right now it seems our team is fighting this uphill battle. And once you get to the top of the mountain and you experience the view, then it's very easy when you want to come back down and do it all over again. That's when you have a lot of momentum, because at the end of this season, I believe that we will have reached some bit of a summit or a peak or a pinnacle in the college landscape. However that may look, it will be something respectable and formidable. And so when the new season comes and we use all that momentum from where we've climbed and trajected to the top, when we come back down, it's going to be a lot of momentum. And
big time.
Yeah, and guys,
big time.
When I say come down, I don't mean by losing. I mean when it's time to start this whole process over again. we come back with an understanding that we've seen the view at the top, and the climb to get back to the ascension at the summit is a lot simpler because you've had experience at it. So I'm okay with being in this ranking because it's a long season. I believe Alabama will lose again because I thought they lost this week. So that's
yeah.
And emotionally, I think they suffered a loss.
Right.
I think emotionally and mentally, they suffered a loss. They can have ego and believe they won that game, but the truth is, the
that was crazy.
Officials made certain that Texas could not win that game.
That was crazy.
That's a shame, and I believe Saban knows it, and the whole country outside of Alabama knows it. So I believe Texas A&M is going to beat them. I do.
Yeah.
And I think Texas, unfortunately, is going to suffer another loss.
Yes.
And the team, Georgia is looking really great. Somehow Ohio might stumble against a Michigan. So
right.
And I'm obviously I'm not trying to broadcast, and I'm not hating on any of these programs. We still got to get past Utah, Notre Dame, and the rest of our schedule.
Yeah, UCLA too. Yeah.
Everybody, UCLA as well. Everybody has to continue to bring their lunch pail to work. That's just
absolutely. Absolutely.
I believe in the staff that is keeping our athletes big vision oriented while still maintaining the goal of we got to win the moment right now.
Right. Yeah, and the thing about it, speaking to everybody got to bring their lunch pail, you're starting to see now, you can call it the NIL, they can call it whatever they want, transfer portal, but it just seems that you're starting to see more parity across the board when you see teams like Alabama go to Texas, who went 5-7, by the way, last year. Right. Terry T, I appreciate it, who went 5-7 last year. And man, Texas, I mean, took them to the brink, and really they won that game. And for those who don't know, Bryce Young was sacked in the end zone, threw the ball away. He wasn't even outside the pocket, and they didn't even call a safety. How in the world they didn't call a safety, I have absolutely no idea, man. But it seems to be more parity now all across the board. And to John's point, you have to bring your lunch pail every day, because I seen Arizona State go and play Oklahoma State, and it looked like yesterday. And they supposedly lost all kind of players, but they looked pretty decent. Washington State beat Wisconsin yesterday, man. They went to Madison, Wisconsin, and beat them. So listen, we don't have time to be worried about who's on the schedule. We just gotta beat everybody who's on the schedule and make sure we locked in and focused to that. What you say about it, John?
We need to we have to continue to have a who's next mentality. Like, who's next? It doesn't matter. Just line them up. Because by the end of the day, we can play any team competitively. As long as we're healthy and mentally and emotionally whole, we can play any team competitively. And I believe the ball bouncing a certain way and how officials decide to contribute into the game does factor into these wins and losses. I saw referees very content on allowing Stanford to be more competitive than they needed to be.
Right.
I saw them call pass interference calls when receivers were pushing defensive backs in middle of the route, and the DBs were just trying to maintain ground. And they called it in favor of the offensive player. And unfortunately, that hurt us. So those are the types of things we still have to overcome. And also be aware that, like, okay, these officials on any given Saturday can try to get some TV time. They want their kids to see them, so they want to make a call. Stop calling stuff that ain't got nothing to do with you. Let these judges play. Those receivers were pushing our DBs all night long.
All night long.
Our DBs, and I didn't even see any grabs that they said.
No. And they called it on Brandon Rice, but they didn't want to call it on our DBs, which it was crazy.
But then on the flip side, I could say at the beginning of the game, which was a huge momentum shift and unfortunate for Stanford, but when the big tight end caught the ball in the back of the end zone, and they said his foot stepped out of bounds, but they called it a touchdown initially. You remember this? That was still like right there, tit for tat. I don't know that could have been an overturned touchdown. They could have kept that. It looked legit to me. So that's a tough break for that kid. So that made me say, you know what, I have to have grace for the refs because they gave that call in favor of SC, and I know they got to make up for it somehow. Yes.
Eddie said, this is Eddie. Eddie Right now, he says, talk about Eric Gentry. Dude is a G. Got punched in. He got punched. You know, he got punched, fell on the ground and screamed in pain, but wouldn't come up out of the game. I seen him, man. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I seen him grabbing down there, and all I knew was, I said, man, Eric Gentry looked like he lost in the sauce for a minute, man. I didn't know, but man, listen, I love that guy, man. And if you guys remember, you guys, hey, when he went on the goal line, man, I seen that little bitty Eric Gentry stick his head in there, man. Did you see that, John? I mean, he came in there. Now, Stanford scored, but he stuck his head in there. I said, this guy's incredible, man. I mean, how can you be that slender like this? He has no fear at all, man. What's your thought?
He has a Lawrence Taylor, Brian Urlacher, Bill Romanowski, Ronnie Lott mindset.
Yes.
But with like a with a Kevin Durant body. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. That's called a genetically gifted hybrid.
Yeah.
He's God-given, man. And
yeah,
with what God gave him, he's worked hard to cultivate a mentality.
Yes.
That allows for him to be a top player in this country because he is one.
We just asked him for 15 pounds, Eric. That's it. Yeah, that's all we asking for, man. About 15 pounds, and he's gonna be ready to rock and roll.
You know, he's gonna be tired of being called like John Bones Jones and stuff. So he He comes in and he will come and stick you, man. He's a big time. We got quite a few questions, and we almost been on here an hour, but let's see. They were at home. What do you expect? Yeah, can we speak? How hard is it? I want to kind of deal with that for a second. How hard is it to play at somebody else's home and be able to come up with a big win like that? You know, I would say good teams play really well at home.
Yes.
Great teams play really well away.
Yeah. I think Lincoln said the same thing.
It's a very, very true statement. It's a staple of teams that have championship pedigree.
Yes.
So we always played better when we had long trips.
Yes.
I can remember that. Like, the games were always more challenging, so I felt like we played better because we had more adversity, right, when I was there. So what I'll say about playing at home is I actually feel that sometimes it's more difficult to play at home.
Yeah.
Because you can be distracted. You know your family's in the crowd. You know you got loved ones there. You should get the win, should come your way. You should have momentum. You're comfortable. Everything is available for you. Your resources are at your fingertips. I think it's harder to play at home.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're supposed to win at home.
Yeah.
It's simpler to play when you're the underdog because you have no choice. You got to swing. And most of these athletes have a fight or flight mindset. And then the ones that you really get kind of afraid of what they're capable of, which were I believe the teams from last season, it wasn't a fight or flight. They were more of a freeze. There was a fight, a flight, and a freeze. And I think our teams of the past used to freeze up in big moments.
Yes,
they were still out there. They were still playing. It wasn't like they completely gave up, but they were stuck and they couldn't get out of it. This team seems like a bunch of fighters.
Fighters, man. Yes.
They're ready. They come into the game with the idea that they're going to get punched in the face and that they're going to swing back. They come with the mindset of understanding that there's going to be some casualties of war. So I do feel like for our team, traveling is going to be one of our strengths.
Yes, yes. They were locked in. And I like the preparedness of the coaches, man, how they got them, man. How they got them structured.
I agree. I really agree. And I like that we don't have any soft tissue, weird injuries that come from lack of conditioning.
Absolutely.
Hamstrings and all that stuff that we struggle with for years. Now it looks like they're durable.
We're gonna, man, we've been almost an hour. We're gonna close it down. I'm gonna answer a couple of more of these comments. 8-Ball LA Mo, he says, had to turn off the sound and listen in silence because ABC broadcast was biased. And yeah, man, you're absolutely right. And it took them a minute. I think they were kind of lost in the sauce as well because they didn't know what to think about that offense, man. Kirk Herbstreit and them, I think they were kind of starstruck and they were trying to figure it out. Finally, he had to come clean. Herbstreit had to come clean and confess and say, I think they might be able to be a top 5 team. Oh, really? We've been trying to sound the alarms for the past couple of months. We told you that this production from the transfer portal, this equates to success. You don't just have this type of production. And I told them guys that USC opposed to Ohio State's offense, receivers 2,100 yards, and USC had 4,100 yards. You can't just make that up. And so now they started to figure it out. They were lost in the sauce last night, and they had to get. I think they were lost in the Alfredo sauce, but we getting them back together though, man.
I want a big shout out to our defense because the truth is, our defense shut them down. They had 5 for 13 third downs. That's dominant.
Yes,
that's actually dominant. They only had 5 out of 13 third down conversions, and the other ones, referees helped them with 2 of them in that game. I think if I have my numbers correct, and what I saw was like, I saw a team for the first time they committed penalties this season, but a lot of those penalties I don't think were legitimate.
Right.
Subjective penalties that the refs just wanted to be involved in the game. Outside of the penalties, outside of the extended third downs that the refs allowed, I think we actually did dominate them for what they were trying to do, because they ran the ball almost 50 times in a football.
Yes, that's a lot of times.
And they did rush for 200 yards, but it wasn't a straight up 200 yards. It was on gimmicks, reverses, on some weird plays that they never seen before. But it wasn't line up, man on man, mano y mano, strength on strength. It wasn't that way. It was a bunch of gimmicks. So for us to outlast the gimmicks on defense, we really did that. I want to see our offense really assert themselves in the second half and make certain that they keep the defense healthy. Because when the offense scores, and big ups to the offense for literally holding the ball for like 7 minutes in the third quarter. That was crazy. But we needed a touchdown.
I think that helped out a whole lot by them holding that ball like that. They drove it down. You know, we know what happened when they got down there, but hey, listen, that's how I think that is the formula. I think that's the key to really kind of preserving our defensive players, man, and the depth that we got. If we could just kind of hold the ball. I mean, I think in the beginning, the initial shock and awe, of course, come down there, score maybe 2 or 3 times real fast. But then at the midpoint of the game, maybe second quarter and on, let's control that clock, man, so we can kind of preserve these guys, man. What's your thoughts?
Clock management for sure. Clock management. Shout out to Austin Jones, who came back to Stanford and really played an exceptional game.
Man, he played a good game.
Contributed where he needed to. Was like very, very solid and trustworthy. Like I think our running backs, I'm trying to remember what we rushed for, but like we were getting about 4 to 4.6, 4.7 yards a rush. Brother, that is some good running.
Yes.
That's some good clock management.
Some good clock management. And Austin Jones was pretty balanced. He caught the ball and he ran it. He was very balanced with it.
I'm trying to tell you guys, we're gonna be okay.
Yes.
We're going to be okay. And so that gives me a lot of the counter feelings of me feeling like, man, I can't stand that they giving up so many yards in the rushing game. But I'm telling you, I played on 2 national championship teams that we did the same thing.
Yes.
Like we used to give up like 300 something yards, 360 yards of offense a game. And we won the national championship.
Yes.
2 years in a row. So I can't be a hypocrite. Be a hypocrite. We bent, but we didn't break. And that's kind of where we are again.
Yes. And I like what I see. And I'm going to end on this comment right here from JB. He says, excellent analysis, gentlemen. He says, I'm looking forward to more in the coming weeks. Fight on, beat the Bulldogs, man. JB, we appreciate you, man. John, your last words before we get up out of here, man, until next week.
Last words, guys. What USCJ is doing for the football community, the USC faithful, is exceptional. He's diligent. He's always timely. He's extremely accurate, and he's authentic with his information that he's distributing. Share it. Share the wealth. Let people know, because what this man is doing this from the strength of his heart, right? This is a passion that he has, and I'm jumping on it because I can share in that passion with him. But share his page, right? This is an unsolicited promotion. But what I'm saying is, you know, I had
Appreciate that, man.
an opportunity to work with people on their podcasts and their live casts and whatever they have going on, and you know, I turn down more than I do. But with him, it's just such an honor because it's natural, and you guys can probably sense how organic and authentic it is. It's raw, authentic. It's real and authentic. It's giving it to you raw, straight up, but it's legitimate. It's 100 like Ben Franklin, right? we need more commentary like this, and not just what you traditionally see out there. So help bolster his page, grow his page. If you want to learn more about me, my name is John Walker Pro on Instagram. You can stay connected with me. I'm a real dude. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a former Trojan. I wasn't a star at SC, but I played in the NFL, had a great career. Matter of fact, when I got my little NFL game day ball here with me, right, from when I was, you know, playing with the Texans, and I got this game ball some years ago. But like a guy like me who wasn't a star in college was able to like have the career that I had as a pro and then sit here and fellowship with you guys. It's a blessing. It's a blessing, and it's real. And on the strength of us celebrating the loved ones that we may have lost, you know, on the anniversary of this day, because today is 9/11.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That much. Yes. We take a moment of silence. Yeah, this is big today. And yeah, we definitely want to acknowledge that. No doubt about it.
Thank you for coming together with us. But if you guys wouldn't mind, I would love to have a moment of silence and just paying tribute to those who are unfortunate enough to be with us, but also to pay celebration to those who stepped up when we needed. But you know, big bro, I'll let you lead that, you know, if you like.
No, man, we could just for maybe 5 seconds, just hold our heads down, man, just in the moment of silence, man. Hey, man, we just want to acknowledge that real quick. I think it's real fitting, man, because at the end of the day, it could have been us. And so, you know, much prayer to the families, man, and we want to keep them in the prayer. Always kind of remember a day like this, man. So listen, I want to say a big thank you to John, man, for tapping in. I told you guys that he'll be coming in, you know, after some of these games, help with the analysis, man, break it down, get his insight, and we come in together on it, man. But I want to thank everybody, man, once again, for tapping in. We had I think 90 in the building, and so we appreciate you. And until then, of course, you guys know I'll be giving you guys recruiting updates and all that kind of good stuff every day of the week. You know how we rock with it. So Jay Walk, once again we appreciate you, man. And at this time we're gonna tap out of here. We've been on an hour and 7 minutes. So hey, fight on, fight on, fight on.